Hello and welcome back to Lorfen Gaming Plays Dragon Quest VII Reimaged. I'm your host Lorfen. In this Dragon Quest VII Reimaged video guide, I'll show everybody on how to start out and survive Dragon Quest VII Reimaged. As always, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more Dragon Quest series videos like this. Do not forget hit notification bells to be updated and much more. I do not know what to do. Why is this monster look all different? It's trying to kill me. How I use my abilities and much more. Don't panic. Help is on the way. With this guide, we're going to go over the vocations, your party members, I should say abilities, spells, how to survive in the world, where to level up, even some stat seed farming as well. We'll go over that too. So first thing we're going to go ahead and do is go over the difficulty of the game. In Dragon Quest VII Reimaged, there are 3 difficulty levels. So let's go over each of the difficulties at this time. Now, easy going, don't do it. Makes the game so easy. Avoid it. Happy medium, this is like normal difficulty. Definitely go for it. Tough going, you want a really tough game, this is it here. You can also do set freely. That means you put your own difficulty, your own conditions, so on and so forth. So, what difficulty should I do? Happy medium or tough going? Go for those. Let's talk about the UI. Now, here's the deal, everyone. We're going to go ahead and go over the UI at this time. Now, I decided to start out this game. Use my starting out file. So, if you see this on the lower left-hand corner of your screen, that's your mini-map. That's your compass, where you need to go, and so on and so forth. And then locations on the upper left. Now, you can interact with the world by using the action button to do so. Now, use your buttons to use the camera go around, so this way you can see what you normally can't see any other way. Now on the lower right, that's your character's health. Now this, and also MP as well. Now this is the map. There's 3 of them. That's local, that's the island, and then there's the world map. Now the exclamation point tells you where you do need to go, so if you ever get stuck in anything, well, you use that. Now, right at this moment, this is your character screen of each of your party members. You get to equip items. Just interact with the square to change them. And then also, if there's nothing there, you just got something like a shield, go ahead and equip it as well. You could also equip accessories. Yeah, I did the pre-order stuff. So this way I show that off. Your character's around too. Now, there's a change outfit button. So you get any pre-order outfits, you could change it as well too. You don't like your Dragon Quest VII Reimaged one. Pick something like, for example, Dragon Quest XI. Now, when you examine your character, use the examine button. This also tells you your stats, leveling up, also vocations, what abilities you can have, so on and so forth. Your skills and spells, this is where they're at. Some you can use on the field, some you have to use them exclusively in battle. So we have the zoom spell. We can't use it now, but when you use zoom, yeah, it's a good thing. General, this will tell you the story. There's the main story, and there's also the sub-story. Sub-story will reveal itself when you actually do discover a new land or a new island. This is your defeated monster list. It looks empty now, but as you play more in the game, it fills up further and further. It also goes into categories as well too. There's other 2 categories I'll let you discover yourself. This is your item list, so this way you can keep track of all the items you have found in the game. Also, if you examine it, it shows you attributes and where you acquire it from as well too. Well, good to know in case you want to farm monsters. This is your traveler's tip, so if you need any tutorial help, this is the way to go. Or they say it, this is the way. Your other achievements is right there. There's other stuff. I'll let you all discover that yourself. Now, there's your items where you get to use items, like, for example, your stat seeds. Let's go ahead and demonstrate that. Put 1 for strength for our little fella here, and there you go. There's your equipment, what equipment you did collect along the way, and important items. You can also inspect equipment too. And after your important items, there's your like a system. Like, for example, you can mess with the controls. Now, there'll be more options added as you go through the game. Battle setting, battle too slow, speed it up. Screen setting, you can mess with that. This is the PC version I'm going over. Consoles might be different. There's your audio setting. You don't like the music, turn it down. And difficulty level, you want to change it. My advice is keep it as it is. And if you pre-order the game or did something else, this is where you claim it. And there's also graphic features, so on and so forth. And also you could quit the game. Remember, save before quitting. And that's about it for the UI. Let's go over save and death. In Dragon Quest VII Reimage, you have to save. Save often, save early. Good news is this. There's a total of 15 save slots. So if you feel like you messed something up, you don't like what you're doing, you get to restore the game. Now, here's a word of caution. If you die in Dragon Quest VII Reimage, it'll give you options. One of them is just to revive yourself back. You'll find the nearest place. However, you lose half your gold. I hadn't died yet, but still be careful on that. So we're just saving the game right now as a demonstration as that well too. So my advice about saving is have different save slots. This way you do different experimentations and more. I'm going to go over briefly the starting area. And Dragon Quest VII Reimage, this is your starting area, Pilcher Bay. Now, you don't have much gold. My advice is smash everything up. Yeah, smash barrels, smash vases, go search drawers. Search everywhere. Yeah, nothing is bolted down, which is a good thing. And there's no combat yet in the game when you exit Pilcher Bay after you do some story parts. But when you get to a certain place, combat will happen. So it's a good idea just to scrounge some things up. If you see anything sparkly on the ground, go ahead and grab it. Other than that, though, learn the shop systems, learn where they are at as well. Also, remember certain NPCs, so this way you could check it out. Now, in some points, some chests are there for you to have total access. Other times, it's locked. We'll go briefly over that when the time has come. And one more thing is, I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is just get you some extra gold and such, even if you didn't get any pre-order stuff. I'm going to go ahead and say this. Before you leave Pilcher Bay with Maribel, go ahead and talk to your main character's mother. She'll give you a sandwich to give to the chef or something like that in the Estar Castle. And then you give it to him, and then what happens is you get some extra gold out of it. That's a little way to make money. So starting out in Dragon Quest VII Reimage is not that daunting. It's fun. And then when you get to meat and bones of combat, you'll be ready to fight. We'll go over combat later. But for now, we'll go ahead and explore the world. In Dragon Quest VII Reimage, the world can be either peaceful, like for example in the present, or very dangerous, like in the past. So what we're doing right now is exploring one of the dangerous parts of the world. So yeah, when you touch an enemy, you get into combat. When you're a bit over level, you use the attack button. You can automatically defeat them. And yeah, you get a little bit less experience, but that's alright. Look for anything on the ground. That'll help you out greatly. Let's see here. Blue, that means they usually come back after X amount of times. Gold, once you grab it, it's permanent. That does include also mini mails too. So yeah, be on the lookout for those as well. Explore everywhere. Check every option. If you feel like you cannot get somewhere now, go ahead and resume the story, and you will get somewhere later on. So the next topic, what we're going to and talk about in this guide is the tablet worlds. After doing some things on Estar Island, you will be able to go ahead and get into the tablet worlds, aka the tablet islands. Now, in order to access these islands of the past, you're going to need to look for tablet fragment pieces throughout the game. Right now, when you start out, you can only get into one world. Eventually, you'll have to make a choice on what islands past you should definitely go into. Other than that, it's a really fun experience. So as always, plan ahead. And when you do get to this new island in the past, yeah, good idea to, as always, stock up on better equipment, so on and so forth. Next up is towns and castles. In Dragon Quest VII Reimage, it's always a great idea to do some exploring around the world, and then eventually you're saying, I need to go to a civilized place. Well, towns and castles are it for you. Usually they have shops from, for example, weapon armor shop, item shop, also new things lying on the ground, and other things to go ahead and definitely look around and explore. Also more barrels and, of course, vases to smash as well, too. And the same rules apply for the sparkly items. Light blue, you can pick them many times as you want to. Gold sparkly items on the ground, go ahead and grab them. And since it's permanent, it's a one-time deal. Make sure you explore your towns and castles everywhere. And one more advice, as always, look for a church to save the game, because you're going to need to save often, save early. Next up are the stats. And Dragon Quest VII Reimage, there are a total number of 9 stats, not including the maximum HP and MP. So I'm going to go over each and every one of them, including the hit points and mana points, or aka magic points. Let's go over the stats. Hit points, aka HP, how much health you have. More health you have, more longer you can be able to live. When your health drops down to 0, that means your character is dead. Only way to get your character back up to life is either the revive spell line, revive item, which I won't talk about. You have to find out yourself. Or worst case scenario, you have to look for a church or someone has the ability to revive you. This will cost you some gold. Now, magic points, aka MP, how much magic points you have. 0 magic points means you cannot use most spells and abilities. Now, there's an exception where there's certain spells and or abilities that have 0 MP use. That means you use them. Most likely those are usually to get some MP from a foe or something like that. Attack. This stats for damage of physical attacks. The higher number of attack, the more damage you get to do physically. Now, that means you got to look for a weapon that's really good in attack, so on and so forth. Now, attack I probably would say is for your frontline fighters or someone who specializes in more physical attacks. Defense, reduce amount of damage from physical attacks. More in defense, more damage you can reduce. Again, that's governed by items as well too. Better equipment you find, that means more in defense. That means less likely you'll take damage. So good idea to look for that for anybody who's more of a frontline fighter or someone's mainly focused on the tanking and such. Let's go on to the next set of stats. Let's go over Magical Might. How strong are your magic damage is. This means more in Magical Might. The higher number means you will do a lot more damage with magical spells. This is very useful if you're focusing a character on doing magical damage, so bump up their Magical Might. This also affects status elements on a target as well too. More Magical Might, more likely your status elements on a foe will definitely land. Magical Mending, how much powerful your healing and reviving spells are. Also healing abilities as well too. The higher number, the more likely you can revive more and heal more damage. So if you want to build a character with abilities to heal and such, yeah, pump up that Magical Mending. Strength, base value of physical strength without any gear. The higher number in strength, the more damage you do. Now couple that with attack. You do a lot more damage that way. As always, look for a certain gear that has strength in it, so this way you boost up the physical damage. Resilience, resistance to physical attacks without gear. The more higher the number is, the more you can receive less damage. Again, look for certain items that boost up resilience if you really need it. Stat seeds will help you out boost at that as well too. Also leveling up, and also you get more boost up depending on what vocation combos happens as well. I'll go over that later on. Let's go to last set of stats. Agility will govern evasion and what order of your character goes first. The higher in agility, the more you can evade attacks, and more likely you go first than your foes in combat. This is really useful, so this way you can act first before your enemy acts. Delphness allows you to run away and do first strikes in combat. First strikes in the game means that you do preemptive strikes. That means you attack first. Your enemies will be stunned on the round that you strike first. The higher in Delphness, the more likely you can run away in case the situation gets really bad. And more often you can do preemptive strikes, aka first strikes catch your foes off guard. Now, this one's new to the Dragon Quest series is Charm. This is your attractiveness. The higher number, the more likely your foes will be stunned and no act at all. Now, Charm is pretty powerful. You can max that out. That means you could charm, I say, most of the foes if it could get that pulled off. That does also work with bosses too. How I know? Well, some bosses I did actually charm them out of a turn, even though they were gone for around one turn. So when you see the heart above their heads, that means your charm is really up there. That's about it for stats. Let's go over shops. In Dragon Quest VII Reimage, there are times when you get excessive items. You need to go ahead and find a place and sell them. Well, those are shops that help you out. There are weapon shops to buy some weapons for your characters. There are armor shops that will buy some armor and shields for your characters. And then there's your item shops. We'll buy items, sometimes accessories as well too. So a great idea to always look for a shop, because if you're a new, I should say, island, new town, new castle, you find a shop, well, you get an idea on well, how much gold you need to save. So next time when you come back with that amount of gold, you can buy some new items to improve your characters. And that's about it for shops. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and talk about are the mini medals. Next up on the list are the mini medals. They are a item that you collect, and then you turn into a certain NPC or NPCs in certain towns and cities that'll give you rewards for collecting a certain amount. Mini medals, you could get items that you normally cannot get now, but you can get later on, or better yet, exclusive items that gives you an unfair edge towards your foes. And also gives some nice stuff as well too. So, should I collect mini medals? Absolutely. You want that edge. That's right, folks. You want the edge. As I said before, when you first start out, you collect X amount of mini medals, and then afterwards, as you got to look for a certain NPC, will open up the rest for you to collect if you get a certain amount of mini medals. Like for example, this one NPC will definitely unlock some very nice rewards after a certain threshold. So look out for those mini medals after you hit a certain point where you cannot turn any more in. Look for that NPC, so this way that NPC can unlock the rest of the goals for you to get more mini medals, so this way you turn them in, get some better rewards. Also, it's nice to get that one trophy / achievement as well. Now, what we'll go ahead and go over next are the combat mechanisms of the game. It is time to go over combat, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about it now. Before you get into combat, or if you're in combat, change your tactics on each of your party members from whatever one they have to follow orders. You're saying, why is that? This way you control the battle. Simple as that. So I'm going to go over the commands real quickly. Fight, that means you fight the battle. Battle speed, you could change as well. We have all follow orders. You can flee, there's attack, you can use your skills. That includes magic too. Use an item. And if things are bad, go ahead and defend as well too. Now remember, some weapons can attack a single foe. Other ones will attack a group of foes. And there's times where they attack all foes. Now if you see a thumbs up in battle, that means your character could do extra damage. That could be either by physical attacks or a certain elemental damage, like for example fire. See a thumbs down, that means one thing. Yeah, you're not going to do much damage. So get used to that as well too. You can also buff your characters up and debuff your enemies. Just remember, even get debuffed there as well too, that there's always a 2. -2 for the debuffs and +2 for the buffs. So it's always a good idea to know your enemies. If they're very tough, like for example in a island pass, go to another island pass you previously visit and go ahead and grind like crazy. And that's about it for combat. I'm going to go over the boss fights. From time to time, you're going to be facing foes that are much more tougher than the normal ones in the battlefield. Those are boss fights, and sometimes you get guest party members to help you out on those too. As always, when you start a boss fight, have a round where you buff up your party members, and if you can, debuff your foes as well too. After that, definitely go all out. Know your boss's strengths and weaknesses. Again, thumbs up means is using right abilities and or spells. Thumbs down means is you're using the wrong thing. If you see an X there, that means a boss is particularly immune to that type of debuff, or sometimes elemental damage, or even physical damage as well. Also, if things are getting bad, keep up with the heals. This time you keep everybody alive. Now, if I remember correctly, what I said is everybody's hit points, including your backup, goes to 0. That means it's game over. Watch out for that. Let loose, when you get let loose on a boss, fully take advantage of that. I kept the let loose there off of combat on purpose. I'd probably say let loose on a boss. This way you could really wreck your bosses big time. And another thing is after combat, you can always auto battle as well too if you want to do that against not bosses. I am against auto battling with bosses because usually the AI again will not be so helpful. That's about it for bosses to fight. And one more piece of advice: if you cannot be a boss now, go back to a previous islands past that you already visit and start grinding there. Now, next up on the list we're going to go ahead and talk about is what do you do after you solve an island's problem and the present. When you do resolve an issue in an island's past, for instance, it's a great idea to check out what's going on in the present. A new island will appear that was sealed in the past. You get to visit in the present. Great idea to visit because you get mini medals, you could get new items there, you can find items, or better yet, go into shops and definitely buy some upgrades if there is. Also, you learn more about the story and even advance the game story much more further. Take advantage of what you've done in the past and check out the present. We're going to go ahead and talk about leveling up next. When you get enough EXP in the game, you'll have enough experience to level up. When you level up, your stats will all go up. In some categories, it will not go up at all. Other times, it will definitely get boosted up. Then your maximum HP MP gets healed as well too. Strive to level up in areas so this way you become much more powerful and become much more devastating as you play further into the game. Don't try to go into areas under level. It's always better to go a little bit over level instead of under level. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the grind next. So, is grinding worth it? Absolutely. Like I said earlier, it's better to be over level instead of under level. More levels you get, more powerful your characters become. And at times, when you get vocations, more you grind towards those vocations, more abilities you get until you max them out. My advice is grind like crazy because you become much more powerful and deal with foes or even bosses with ease. Now, next up, we'll go ahead and talk about our party members. And Dragon Quest VII Reimage, what happens is you start out with 3 characters who will be in your party. Key for your tough fighter, your main character, which is in between might and magic, and Maribel's a little bit on the magic side. Eventually, later on, you will get other party members, and then the vocation system will kick in. Will change your party setup drastically. So my advice about party members is this. Learn what they do all about when you start out. When you go with the vocations, then, of course, adjust accordingly. So let's go ahead and talk about seeds next. And Dragon Quest VII Reimage, there are stat seeds. What they do is will increase your stats accordingly. There's also a seed of proficiency, which is extremely rare in the game. That will increase your character's proficiency in a class. As for stat seeds, give it to your best character in a certain role. Like, for example, a strength seed should go on to someone like, for example, Rolf or your main character. And then other times, I should say, the seed of magic, which definitely gets your MP or so, should give it someone like Maribel. As for seed proficiency, I would advise saving it definitely for any character who's lagging behind on the advanced class setup when they're on their last one. That's about it for seed proficiency. And what about farming it? Well, we're going to talk about that later on. And Dragon Quest VII Reimage, the class system are called Vocations. So Vocations, each of your characters in the party start out with their own until they get a certain point in the story where they be able to change their vocations into other ones, like, for example, beginners, intermediate, and advanced. Fill out 8 stars, that means you master a vocation. Simple as that. You can move on to another one. Now, just remember, when you switch from one vocation to another, you lose the skills and, of course, spells that were in that vocation, but you get to focus on a new one. What about Moonlighting? We're going to talk about that after I go over the vocations, so we'll go over that. I'm going to give a little bit forward about that. So here we go. This is a very important note about vocations. Make sure your party members who is focused on a certain role to choose a vocation that focus on that role. I.e., for example, party members focused on magic should be a mage vocation or a heavy focused magic vocation down the line. Yeah, Maribel's a good example of that. Now, great idea to master all vocations anyways for the entire party. You're saying, why is that? This way you get the option to set up the party on how you want to do it instead of being limited. In other words, it gives you options. Options are always very important. One important note, your stats will change via level up in a vocation One vocation might give you more strength while another less. Plan ahead when you stick with that vocation. So when you change your vocation at some certain point in the game, it'll show you up and down arrow or a minus arrow. Minus arrow means nothing really won't happen. Just the up arrow will give you a greater chance of that stat will raise up. The down arrow means is you get less of that when you level up. So that's about it for a very important note. I'm going to go over the default vocations. The first of the default vocations is the Fledgling Fisherman. Your main character, that's the one with the green hat, unless you change his outfit, starts out with this. His let loose ability is Ocean's Devotion. So this happens is this. Each ally will neutralize the next attack that targets them. So in other words, they take 0 damage. Pretty good starting out, actually. Especially good during early boss fights. Next up is Mini Mayoress. That is Maribel, who starts out with this default vocation. Her let loose ability is Shrewd Operator. See through enemy resistance, makes elemental attacks much more effective. So if you put this on auto and she let loose, then she'll use the right elemental damage to pierce a certain foe's weakness. Now, on your own, you see the up arrow. When this happens, that means your magical damage will be really crazy. Very great early on. So let's get to the next set of default vocations. The next default vocation is Heir Apparent. Kiefer starts out with this. His let loose ability is called Burn Bright. It'll lower his defense, but increases attack power and critical chance significantly. So if you're doing like a high power attack that he has, and you have this happening, yeah, he's going to do a lot of damage early on. Again, this is great during boss fights. Next up is Wolf Boy. The true hero of Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. Wolf starts out with this default vocation. His let loose ability is Born to be Wild. Causes the user to perform 2 actions per turn before tiring out and falling asleep. Now, this is really useful due to the fact that he's doing 2 actions. It's crazy. It's great early on until you, of course, get to the better vocations out there. Let's get to the final 2 default vocations. The next default vocation is Destiny's Dancer. Aish starts out with this. Her let loose ability is Perfect Lockstep. Allow a portion of the user's positive status effect to be passed on to a neighboring ally. So, for example, she has oomph on herself, and then she uses this, then she passes on, like, for example, Rolf. In other words, he gets that. Very good when you get her in the game until, of course, you get her better vocations out there. The last one is Chevalier. Sir Mervyn, who starts out with this default vocation. His let loose ability is True Chivalry. Provides cover for the ally with the lowest hit points, then deliver a counterattack. So, for example, Maribel's about to get one-shotted. Sir Mervyn will stand in the way. He takes the damage. Then he gets upset and does a counterattack. Again, this is a good default vocation until you get the actual vocation. Now, let's go over the beginner vocations and what their let loose abilities do. A brief note about the beginner vocations. So when you have access to them, there's no requirements at all. So that's the great news. You just got to play the story a bit, and eventually you'll have access to them. Now let's go over the first one, the Dancer vocation. I'm going to call it a class as well too. A class that debuffs their foes and buffs their parties via dancing. So they dance their way, help you out greatly. Let loose ability, Tender 2-Step. Allow a portion of the user's positive status effect to be passed on to a neighboring ally. Yeah, that's exactly like Destiny Dancer, which is very nice. The next one is the Jester class, a class that mainly debuff foes and help the party with a bit of chaos in it. Yeah, there's no dancing, alright. They try to tell jokes and try to debuff a foe with that, or cheer up a party member. Now, let loose abilities play the fool, prat about to defiantly dodge attacks from enemies who will also be easier to provoke into fits of laughter. So if you get them laughing, they lose a turn, they lose an action. That's a good thing. Let's get to the next set of beginner vocations. The next one of my personal beginner vocation favorites is the Mage, a class that focuses on offensive magic attacks and spells. The let loose ability is Mage's Rage. That's why I like it. Guarantee that all the user's spells will land critical hits for a few turns. I'm going to tell you right now, I actually have a nice setup with one of the characters with this vocation, and then use this let loose ability, and what happens is they did a critical hit, especially with very powerful spells. If you've been watching my walkthroughs, yeah, you'll be seeing me using that quite a bit. Next up, this is another good one I like as well too, Martial Artists. Focus on physical attacks on their foes. Yeah, they use their fists. They let the fists do the talking. Let loose ability, critical stance. Adopt a supremely powerful pose which ensures a critical hit. Single-wise, this is really nice. Now, when you moonlighting it, it's very good. I use it as a supplement. So let's get to the next set of them. The next one is the Priest class, or aka Vocation, a class that focuses on healing and buffs. In other words, they can heal, they can buff you up, they can sometimes even revive you. Let loose ability, Born Again. Restore all allies' HP, move any status alignments, and revives any unconscious allies with a 100% successful rate. This is the oh crap button. You get the let loose ability, you're in trouble, pop that sucker, bring your party members back to life, 100% hit points, and kick some serious butt. Next one is the Sailor Vocation, a class that infuses magic with their attacks. In other words, a little bit of magic with a whole bunch of might in it. Let loose ability, Gritty Ditty, significantly increases all allies' attack powers and agility. So this is like a nice buff there. You go ahead and pop this let loose ability as a sailor. Certain party members get buffed up. If they're, for example, warrior or martial artist, they'll really thank you for that. The next one on the list is the Shepherd, a class that heals and uses sheep to attack foes or help allies. Yeah, in other words, he uses his or her flock to stick some sheep on enemies. Let loose ability, Woolly Bullies, summon a flock of sheep that will merely join in with the user's attack. So in other words, the sheep and the user will all attack at once. It's crazy. It's full of good chaos. Next up is the Thief Vocation, a class that can steal from foes, can attack or debuff foes as well too. Its let loose ability is Repeat Offender, allows another action to be performed every time a status alignment is afflicted upon an enemy. So if you put a poison upon an enemy, they act again. You put paralyzation upon an enemy, they act again. Very good and fun let loose ability. The next one is the Troubadour, that is aka the Bard class. We're going to call it the Bard class, a class who uses songs to heal and buff up party members. It lets loose ability is Encore, a potential performance that temporarily reduces all allies' MP cost to 0. So if you have a mage in your party, they will really thank you big time. So this way, that mage, him or her, can just nuke it away on enemies because they got no MP to waste. Last but not least is the Warrior. Not the Warriors where someone's clinging the bottle saying Warriors come out and to play. You know that whole deal. Anyways, the Warrior Vocation, a class that focuses on melee damage and combat. They're your Brute Squad class, or Vocation. Let loose ability, Art of Chivalry. Provides cover for the ally with the lowest hit point, then delivers a counterattack. This is similar to Submersive one, and it's a fun one to abuse. So if you get in a boss fight, you're getting trouble, and you just got let loose on the warrior, let that him or her pop it, and then let the protection of the lowest hit point allies happen. Also, it's nice to do a counterattack as well. Now, that is it for beginner vocations. We're going to go ahead and go to the intermediate ones. A little note about the intermediate vocations. Now, in order to access them, you must master the beginner vocations. The requirements are the beginner vocations you need to master. So let's go over the first one, Armamentalist, class that uses elemental magic into their melee attacks. In other words, a combination of might and magic. Now, requirements in order to get this vocation is Warrior and Mage Master. So you have to master Warrior and Mage vocation. Simple as that. Let loose ability, Elementary, makes use of a mastery of the elements to significantly increase elemental attack power and elemental resistance. This is really good in case you're going against a certain boss that has a weakness to a certain elemental in its vocation. Then you can go ahead and wreck them. Let's go over to the next one. Next up on the list is the Gladiator Vocation, a class that heavily focuses on melee attacks. Here are some requirements. The Warrior and Martial Arts vocations must be mastered, 8-starred. Otherwise, you won't be able to get this combination. It Let Loose ability is flashback, abandons all attempts at defense in order to drastically increase the power of physical attacks. In other words, you trade your defense to be able to do a lot more melee damage. It's deadly, but if you can connect blows against foes, especially bosses, this will definitely go your way. On to the next vocation. The next one on the list is the Luminary Vocation, a class that uses showmanship to buff party members and use attacks on foes. This is a very nice vocation, unlocks many things as well too down the road. Here's the requirements. You're going to need to master 3 vocations. They are Dancer, Troubadour, that's the Bard class, and the Jester class. It Let Loose ability is Showtime. Makes it easier for all allies besides the user to get worked up, aka Let Loose ability to get boosted up more faster. In other words, you rush towards it quicker for the other party members. Basically, what this does is makes other party members get the Let Loose abilities, like I said, status much more quicker. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. Really useful. There are builds that actually uses this vocation. Go ahead and pull that off. So this way they pass the buck onto, for example, Rolf. So this way if he let loose, he gets to use his whatever vocation he wants to use to do some serious damage. Let's talk about the next one on the list. Next up to bat is the Monster Master vocation, a class that summons monsters to help the party in combat. This requires 2 vocations mastered, the Thief and Shepherd. Once you master those, you have access to the Monster Master. The Let Loose ability is positive reinforcement. Makes it more likely that a powerful monster will answer a call when performing a summon. So for example, you want to go ahead and summon a dragon with this Let Loose ability on for the Monster Master. You will get 1 powerful dragon. I'll tell you what, it also depends on how far you're on the level up chart. You might get a good dragon, but later on if you're really high level, you get a seriously powerful dragon. Works with slimes and other creatures as well too that you summon. Let's go ahead and speak with the next one. The next vocation on the list is the Paladin vocation. This is a class that focuses on healing and defending the party from their foes. In other words, you heal, you also use defensive ability, so on and so forth. Good for tanking. Requirement, martial artist and priest vocations must be mastered, otherwise you won't be able to have access to the Paladin vocation. Now, its Let Loose ability is Nightly Watch. Adopts a nightly stance that reduces damage taken while increasingly the likelihood of block attacks to its absolute maximum. So in other words, this will help definitely if you're taking a boss, you're drawing them to you, then you use your Let Loose ability. Afterwards, you get damage reduction when the boss tries to hit you, then you start most likely to block more and more and more. In other words, you'll be one mean tank. Let's go over to the next one. The next one on the list is the Pirate vocation, a class that attacks all foes, and some attacks can debuff or stop the foes in their tracks. This is one of those crazy vocation that attacks all foes at once. It's pretty cool. Now, the requirements are the Thief and Sailors to be master for the vocation. Once you get those 2 mastered, you have access to the Pirate vocation. Now, Let Loose ability is Deck the Swabs. Yeah, it's backwards, but it's a cool one. Boosts attack power and defense with every attack that is unleashed, and also restores HP to boot. Now, you couple this with a certain advanced vocation, then you got a deadly setup going on. So let's go over the last and final vocation on the list. The last and final intermediate vocation is the Sage vocation, a class that masters offensive buffs and healing magic. So you get a mixture of those. It's kind of like exactly like the Sage one in Dragon Quest III, except for you don't get all the Mage and Priest spells. And the requirements. Mage and Priest vocations must be mastered. Again, that's a little bit ode to Dragon Quest III. Now, its Let Loose ability is Tucus Pocus. So what this does is allow spells that are cast to also unleash echoes of themselves. So for example, you want to cast the, I should say, Frizz spell with this Let Loose ability, you do it twice. Now, if you have the Duplicit hat on, that triggers, and then you probably get most likely 4 times that same spell gets cast. It is a very nice, oh crap moment. So if you have multi-heal with this, then you get to do multi-heal twice, and you have, I should say, very high magical mending. Then you get to fully heal your party without spending a lot of mana to do Omni heal. Now let's go ahead and get to the last 3 vocations, which are in the advanced vocations. The last type of vocation are the advanced vocation. This takes the hardest work to the fact you have to master the intermediate vocations in order to unlock them. Once you unlock them, they are really worth it. So let's go over the first one, the champion vocation. A class that focuses on melee damage that do heavy damage at all times. Really powerful stuff. Requirement, the Gladiator and Paladin vocations must be mastered. Let loose ability divide. Creates a pair of doppelgangers of the user, ensuring that the next attacking ability hits with 3 times the power. This is seriously broken. It's just like Divide in the other Dragon Quest games, especially the HD 2D remake ones. And let me tell you, it is really deadly. You go ahead and use, for example, multi-fist while you do Divide, and then you do that 3 times. This really makes the game broken at times, which is really great. So let's go ahead and get to the next one. The next advanced vocation is the Druid vocation, a class that has the most powerful healing and offensive magic in the entire game. They have some serious magical damage stuff in there as well. Yeah, just trust me. Requirement, master any of the 2 below, Sage, Pirate, and Luminary vocations. So you get 2 out of 3 there mastered. You have access to a Druid vocation. Let loose ability, that special summon. Summons a powerful spirit at the start of each turn for the next 4 turns. So you get 4 spirits, 1 heals you, and then down the line it gets much more deadly for your foes. It's not bad, I would say, for a let loose ability, but there's better ones out there. I prefer the Mage one, and it's really a nice one. That one. So let's go ahead and go over the final advanced vocation. The last and final one is the Hero vocation in the advanced vocations category. A class that is the ultimate balance between might and magic. It also has some spells that's exclusive to the Hero vocation. Requirement, master any of the 3 below. That is Gladiator, Paladin, Armamentalist, Sage, Luminary, Pirate, and Monster Master. You get those 3 master in that category, you're good to go as a hero. Let loose ability, Mark of the Hero, allows the user to perform special abilities that are off limits to anyone but true heroes. This will unlock new abilities with the hero skills, and like for example, it gives you a powerful shield, or at times it does a lot of light damage to a single foe. It's not bad, I should say, let loose ability. That's it for vocations. Again, go ahead and grind them all, so this way you have many options open to you. Now next up, we'll go ahead and talk about Moonlighting, which is a new feature in Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, and why you should take full advantage of it. Here's the deal. In Dragon Quest VII, the other versions, not the Reimagined version, you only allow 1 vocation at a time. Now, in Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, at some point in the game, you're allowed to have a Moonlighting option. That means you'll be able to have the second vocation. That means you have 2 vocations. You get to grind them at the same time. Speeds up the grind in the game for vocations. You can make some very nasty combinations as well, too. So, for example, if we have a Rolf here, have his main vocation as a champion, then he's Moonlighting as a, I say, martial artist. He'd be 1 deadly melee fighter. Another good example I'm going to go ahead and give out is if you have Mayoress as a Druid for her main vocation, and then her Moonlighting is a Mage. So she has the ability to do critical hits for let loose while using some of the Druid spells to do so. You can put some nasty combinations there. Always good, ideal to experiment. So this way you know what to use and abuse. Now next up, we'll go ahead and talk about all the vocation skills and spells. Now, next up, we're going to go over the vocation skills and spells. So I'm going to go over every single one of them, from the default ones to the advanced ones. Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the zoom spell, since that is a ability you start out with, or in this case, a spell you start out with. What that does is any place you previously visit, you get to go back. It makes traveling a lot more quicker. So let's go ahead and start this up. The first default, I say vocation we're going over, is the Fledgling Fisherman skills. Heals 25 hit points on a party member. This is a good basic heal skill. Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about magical mending. That'll go up a little bit when you have more of that, which is very nice as well. Buff raises defense on a party member. Now, this is a good defense raising ability, one of your first buffs you should get in the game. Aqua Slash, a swashbuckling slash that causes heavy damage to enemies from the material family, sometimes reducing their resistance to lightning damage. This is a good 2-for-1 punch, because if you use that and then Kiefer has his lightning attack, it makes a nice combination early on. Hornpipe, a dance that makes getting the let loose status much faster. So if you need to get the let loose ability much more quicker, this is the way to go. Here's another one, Squelch, cures poison status on a single party member, which is good. I mean, poison early on can be a pain, but this is a nice spell to have, so this way you don't have to use your items or farm for gold to go ahead and get something to cure poison. Little slightly raises the attack of a single party member. This is not bad for the boosting up your attack, stat for your party members. This way, for example, you cast it on Kiefer, and then Kiefer could do more damage. Now, another good one is Coral Grieve. Attack all foes with water damage. This is a nice elemental attack, so if you know a foe is weak to that, you see the thumbs up, that's when you use it. Last but not least is Lifeboat. Render a single attack on a party member totally useless. This is like one of those, oh crap, Maribel's about to die. Pop it on her, you do that. Next foe try to hit her, she gets no damage. It's a lifesaver. And I'm doing these in the order of, I should say, vocations you learn as you master it. And that's about it. So let's go ahead and do the mini Mayoress. That's Maribel's default vocation. The first one we'll go over for the mini Mayoress. That's the first one she learns is Frizz. Does fireball damage on a single target. So this is a nice fire elemental damaging spell. And it's good to use when you start out. Dazzle. Wrap a group of foes with illusions. This means your foes will miss with melee attacks more often. So if you're facing a boss that loves the melee and not immune to it, well, pop this sucker, and what happens is the boss will start missing more often than not. It's a great debuff to start out with. Crack does ice damage on a single target. So Maribel not only when she goes down the mini Mayoress vocation tree as she gets more stars, she gets more spells to use and abuse early on. And this is one of them that's really nice because it's ice damage. Now she has the option to do fire, in this case, ice. This is a group of foes get hit with fire damage. So she expands instead of single target now with fire damage. She goes with a group of foes get burnt to a crisp, or at least weakened by it. If they're, of course, weak to fire. Let's get to the last set of her skills. Let's go ahead and talk about the Bang spell. Damage all foes with explosion elemental damage. This is actually good starting out because you could clear foes quickly. Eventually, its usefulness will run out when you start to go dipping into the beginner vocations, but still it's a nice spell to have. Now, Maribel also gets the same heal spell as your main character does, which, by the way, heals 25 hit points of damage. Since Maribel has more magical might and mending, hers will heal a bit more, which is nice. Photo confuses a single target. If you want a target to attack other foes, if they get the confusion status, yeah, this is a way to go. Last but not least is Frizz. Launches 4 fireballs at random foes. Now, this is good for, I should say, a few of them, but if there's like 5 or 6 foes, then it gets 4 of them gets damaged, 2 of them does not, or maybe only 2 gets damaged, the rest doesn't. Now, I'm going to say this now. This is actually great against bosses because it'll do 4 fireballs at once, which is really nice. That is it for the mini Mayoress, so we'll go ahead and talk about the Heir Apparent next. Now we're on Kiefer's skills, which is the Heir Apparent. He starts out with Flame Slash, attacks a single foe with melee attack that is infused with fire elemental damage. This is really nice, so if a foe's weak to fire, go ahead and abuse that. Focus Strength, next melee attack will do double damage basically. This wears off if you do not attack in a round with the buff on that character. So if you decide just say, oh, I'm just going to sit on it, that goes away. You buff one round, next round you should attack with it. Very powerful stuff early on. Kiefer, I made him my main focus in melee attacks because of that. Yeah, he did a lot of damage on bosses, especially if I over-leveled him quite a bit. Mensana, increase attack power by removing negative status effects. This is a really good cleanser. At the same time, whoever gets this on them also gets a nice attack power boost. So, for example, Kiefer decides to go ahead and cure your main character of poison. Your main character gets a nice boost in attack, which is good. Lightning Slash. Attack a single foe with melee attack that is infused with lightning elemental damage. Couple it with that water attack from your main character, and then the two you could do some serious damage on a material family, which is nice. So let's go further in Kiefer's vocation that as he gets more skills. I'm going to remind everybody through this section, once again, I'm doing this in order of stars that you get. So here we go. Helm Splitter, an attack on a single foe will drop their defense slightly. So sometimes it will, sometimes it doesn't, but when they drop their defense, they'll be more susceptible to attacks. They take more damage with melee, especially with Kiefer in your party. That is great. Multi-Slash, an attack that slashes foes randomly 4 times, great against single targets. Yeah, so Multi-Slash, you use it against a boss. What happens is very early on, you can do some serious damage to said boss. Cutting Edge, a single attack that does good melee damage. So Cutting Edge is a nice ability to use for Keeper starting out. He gets some nice raw damage. In other words, he'll be your great melee damage maker. So next up we'll go ahead and talk about is our Wolf Boy Roof. We'll go ahead and go over Roof's default vocation, Wolf Boy. Again, they're in order of vocation. You gain stars. First one's Aru. You get that automatically. A shout that hits a group of foes that can miss their turn. So if you're worried about a boss or a set of foes that's giving you trouble, you want to miss their turn. So this way you can make the battle easier. This is the way to go for Roof. Chomp summons a wolf to attack one foe. It's not a bad starting ability for Roof skills to use against a foe. Pretty decent against boss fights, I'll probably say. Sikkim summons a wolf to attack a group of foes. This is upgrade to Chump. Very nice, except for it goes for a group of foes. Now, this is a good one I love. Nap. Wolf takes a nap that removes poison, dazzle, status effects, and also on that restores MP and HP. So after he wakes up, he gets all that very nice stuff. So it's a very nice self-buff for Wolf. Call of the Wild calls a wolf pack to attack foes 4 times randomly. Great against single foes. Again, this is a good one against single foes and probably against male slimes, you know, the first tier of the male slime creatures. So I'll probably say use that big time when you start out. Now, let's go ahead and go over Aisha's default vocation, the Destiny's Dancer. We'll go over Aisha's Destiny Dancer skills. First one is Charm Cha Cha, dance that can charm a single foe. If the automatic charm skill doesn't kick in, this is a good way to actually kick it in. So it's like another crowd control. Dodgy Dance, increase evasion on the caster. This is a really good one. So if you feel Aisha's getting hit more often than not, pop this sucker for her, and she's good to go to dodge some foes' attacks, which is melee attacks, by the way. Kiss Me Deadly can poison a single foe. The higher charm stat, the better this lands. So if you have a high charm build, you can poison a foe. So this way their hit points go tick, tick, tick down to 0. This is a good way to use that. Decoy Dance, this makes one party member a target. Great to use to have a party member to be focused to be attacked. So in other words, if you want a certain party member to be a tank, like for example your hero, pop this on him and then let him take the damage while the other party members don't take the damage. All that's via melee, of course. Great to use. Battle Dance, a dance that boosts all party members' attack power. This I actually use quite a bit towards the end of the game, especially end game, because it buffs up your attack power, which is extremely nice. Next up the bat is Soothing Song, a song that heals all party members 20 hit points. This scales up with higher magical mending. This is actually a really nice healing skill starting out early on. If you have high magical mending, this goes beyond the 20 hit points per party members that they get healed, which is a great thing. Muscle Dance, a dance that boosts a single party attack power, more powerful than Battle Dance. This gives you like a lot more attack power. Use it on someone like, for example, Roof, and then Roof could do more melee damage, which is a great thing. Pink Pertulate, attack that hits all foes in battle and attempts to charm them as well. So if you want to, I say attack that hits all foes, and then of course puts them out of commission for 1 or 2 rounds. This is the way to go. Empathy. This passes some of your MP to one of your party members. So if Maribel's low on MP after doing so many nuking spells, yeah, you could pass this on to her to get some more, even more MP. So this way she could use more offensive magic, which is a great thing. Next up on the Destiny Dancer skill list is Photo Dance, a dance that attempts to confuse all foes. So if they're all confused, they're going to attack each other, which is a nice thing. Dead Dance, a dance that attempts to take out all foes. This dance does not work against bosses, and certain foes immune to instant death attacks. So if you want to quickly attempt to take out a group of foes, that's good. This is good early on, but later on, it becomes useless to affect many more foes are kind of immune to that. Kerplunk Dance, a dance that attempts to revive a party member. It does not work sometimes. If you don't have someone with 100% revival rate on skills or abilities, something like that, this is the only way to revive, which is a nice thing. And that's it for Destiny's Dancer. Now, the next one is the Chevalier class. That is Sir Mervin's default class. We'll go over his skills. This is Sir Mervin's default class with some skills. Again, I'm doing them in order as you level up via vocations. Focus Strength, next melee attack will do double damage. This wears off if you do not attack in the round with the buff on that character. Same one as Kiefer versus. This is nice for Mervin to use if you go with him the melee path. Underpants Dance, a dance that can make a group of foes that attempt to stop them acting in battle for one turn. So if you need to quickly get a foe that attacks heavily, and then you decide to use this, and if it works, yeah, then that foe won't attack, and you can take advantage of that. Block and Spiel, attack on a single foe that can also keep the user safe from harm. So what this does is it attacks a foe and then gives it a chance to be able to block more often their attacks, which is a good thing. Poof attempts to make all foes disappear. One thing about the Poof spell, when you do that, you don't get EXP and gold at all, and some foes are actually immune to that. That's a nice use of magic in case you're facing against a really tough foe. Other than that, though, you should be leveling up if this is the case. So let's move on to the next set of skills. Next up on the Chevalier skills is Attacker. This one is an attack that hits a single foe that can attempt to drop their foe's attack down. So if you need to drop a very tough foe's attack down, this is the way to go early on. Metal Slash, a single attack that can do extra damage against metal foes. So this is really nice against a metal slime, such like that. Instead of 1 damage, you get to do 2 damage, which is a good thing because it's closer to their demise. Multi-Slash, an attack that slashes foes randomly 4 times. Great against single targets. As I said before, this is great against single targets. In fact, if it's one, especially a boss, you attack them 4 times. And if you do high damage, that's good. So if you do, I should say, the melee path for Sir Mervin, this is the way to go. Undead Undoer, a single attack that can do extra damage against undead type of foes. So if you're facing an undead boss, this is the way to go. Dragon Slash, a single attack that can do extra damage against dragon foes. So if you're facing off against dragon type of enemies, this is the way to go. Cut Above, a single attack that can hit 6 times. So it does a single damage against one foe and hits them 6 times, which is some good damage. Block and Counter, allowed to a counterattack when the user blocks an attack. This is a self buff, so Sir Mervin hits this. He blocks, then he counterattacks. So it's a great, I'd probably say tanking skills this way. He focuses on blocking, and if a foe tries to hit him, afterwards he blocks it, and then he punches him back. Good to use. That's it for all the default classes skills. Now we're going to go over the beginning vocations one, starting with the Dancer Vocation. Here are the Dancer Vocation skills. Charm Cha-Cha, dance that can charm a single foe. Like I said before for Aish, great if you want to bypass the natural charm skill way, where sometimes charms this one that will try to go for it. Dodgy Dance, increase evasion on a caster. I said before for Aish is to increase your evasion on the user. So this way they dodge more often than get hit. Can be deadly, can cast poison on a single foe. Higher charm stat, better it is. Exactly the same as the one I previously said. Decoy Dance, this will basically make one of your party members a target. Great to use to have that party member be the focus of attack. In other words, that party member tanks if he or she has a high defense. Rest you do some damage. Battle Dance, a dance that boosts all party members' attack power. This is, like I said before, is good. I would say use it big time because you give everybody's attack power. They do more melee damage. Empathy. This passes some of your MP to one of your party members. Like I said before, if Maribel needs some more MP, the user should go ahead and sacrifice his or her MP and give it to Maribel. So this way Maribel casts more powerful offensive magic. Muscle Dance, a dance that boosts a single party attack power. This is more powerful than Battle Dance. So for example, you get the 2 on the attack power icon instead of 1. Good to have that. Follow Dance. This dance attempts to confuse all foes, which is very good. If you want to confuse all foes, so this way they're less likely to attack you and they attack themselves, that's a good way to go. Pink Pertuis. This attack will hit all foes and attempts to charm as well too. That's a good little offensive attack. Then that's about it for a Dancer Vocation for their skills. Let's go to the Jester. Here are all the Jester skills in that Vocation, and is the order that you will receive them. Hip drop, jumping attack, the more in the charm stat, the more damage it does. So if you're doing a charm build, this is the way to start out a battle with. Pratfall, a buff that can increase evasion. Each time the user with this buff dodges immediately attack, their charm goes up. So you have someone use this buff, and boom, their charm stat goes up, and you have like a charm build. That's a double positive. Sobering slap. A slap on a party member removes the following: paralysis, sleep, beguilement, confusion, and hallucinations. If successful, the target party member also gets their charm going up as well too. So if you have someone in your party who has a charm build, slap them, and if they get all of that and their charm goes up, that's a good thing. Decelerate, attempts to drop agility on a single foe. That means they're more likely to be behind you on turns. That means you get more turns than them. And that is a great thing. Next up is one-liner. Attempts to make all foes laugh and stop doing an action. The higher the charm stat, the more success the joke will land. So basically, if you want to stop them, of course, from doing action for a round, this is a good way to go. Very good early on, I will say. Next up is Mayoress. The user steps in the way of the party and takes negative status effects instead. So if Mirabelle's about to be poisoned and then your main character is a Jester, he uses that, then the main character gets poisoned, not Mirabelle. It's a good thing. Decelerate attempts to slightly reduce agility on all foes. It's weaker than the single one, but still, this will drop all foes' agility. In other words, if their agility does drop, that means you go first in turns over them, which is great. Here are the last set of the Jester Vocation skills. Joke's on you. Passes all negative effects on to one foe. So if you have, like, for example, Dazzle and Poison, you see that foe doesn't have anything. As long as they're not immune to those type of negative effects, go ahead and pass them on to them. Good early on, I would say. Rib Tickler attempts to lower a foe's resistance to negative status effects. This is a great way to do that because there's some builds that will actually use negative status effects, and then this way they do more damage. Weird Whacker. A single attack that attempts to confuse a foe. So if you need a foe that's confused, this way that foe won't focus on you. Instead, that foe does something stupid against itself. This is the way to go. That's it for the Jester Vocation skills. Next up is the Mage Vocation skills. Here's the Mage Vocation skills. Again, they're in the order of vocations that you go through as you level up that vocation. Frizz does fire damage on a single target. This is a good starter way to do fire damage. This is similar to Mirabelle's. Sleep. Attempt to put a group of foes to sleep. If they're asleep, they cannot do anything at all. Then you get to do stuff to them. Dazzle. Wrap a group of foes around illusions. This means your foes will miss more often than not with melee attacks. Again, I said before, this is a great beginner debuff on foes. Great against, I should say, certain bosses who like to hit with melee more often than not. Bang! Damage to all foes with explosion damage. Again, this is a basic explosion damage line spell. Very good to use to clear out weaker foes. Frizzle does fireball damage on a single target. This is more powerful than the Frizz spell. So basically, this is an upgrade to Frizz. You should use it if you're focusing on foes weak to fire. Sap attempts to drop defense on a single foe. When they defense drop, that means your melee characters get to do more damage against them. Good times to me. Sizzle. A group of foes get hit with fire damage. This is more powerful than Sizz. So basically, this is like a group version of I'll probably say, we'll say the Frizz spell, and you get to burn all foes with fire damage. Next one up the bat is Kasap. Attempts to slightly reduce defense on all foes. So if you need all foes defense to drop down, this is the way to go. Instead of the -2 on defense, it's -1 on every foe. Drain Magic steals MP from a single foe. So if Mirabelle's running out of MP and she needs more, she gets to take it from a foe, which is a good thing. Blunt attempts to reduce attack on a single foe. So if a foe is annoying you like heavy melee with attacks, try to use Blunt, and they're damaged a little bit less than it intended to for them to do onto you. Boom! Damage all foes with explosion damage. This is more powerful than the Bang spell. So this is a nice, again, clear out some yard trash foes and this way you get to the boss quicker or enter the dungeon quicker. Channel Anger, double the caster's magical might. This is one broken buff because what happens is you get ×2 magical might when this happens, and this what happens is wears off when the spell is cast. That's the downside, but the upside is your magic does a lot damage if you couple it with another vocation, which I will explain that skill later on. Your spellcaster is going to do a hell of a lot of damage. That's what I'm going to say. Last but not least is Kafrizz. Does fire damage to a single foe. This is more powerful than the Frizzle spell. I'll tell you what, it's great to use. You use it, you abuse it, you burn with some very high fire damage. That's it for the Mage Vocation skill. Now, next up on the list is the Martial Artist. We're now on a Martial Artist Vocation. Let's go over his skills in the order that you do get a start in. Claptrap, attack a single foe. The user's attack is increased. So this is a good start martial arts skill to use and abuse. Leg sweep, attack that can unbalance a foe. So if you want to stop him for a turn or so, this is the way to go. Min Sans, this is acting like Kiefer's, increase attack power by removing negative status effects. So if, for instance, your main character has that, Rolf decides to cast this on your main character, a status effect, that goes away, and the main character's attack power increases as well too. So it's a very nice skill. Flying Knee, attack on a foe, just a one foe shot deal. Now this does great damage against flying foes. So if you're going against a flying boss, this is the way to go against them. Now, next up is Back At Ya. A self-buff that dodges melee attacks. It will also make the caster randomly attack one foe. So, for example, if you dodge an attack, then you'll attack a random one. Good to use early on. Roundhouse Kick, a spinning attack that can hit a group of foes. So if you really want to try to wipe out some foes quickly, you have a high attack and strength, this is a skill to use. Focus Pocus, the next ability you use will be used twice. This will vanish if you do nothing with the buff on the caster. This is one broken ability. I used it through a good chunk of the game. That does include post-game as well. And you couple that with Multi-Fist. You do Multi-Fist twice, and that's a lot of damage there. Knuckle Sandwich, an attack on a foe that can attempt to do a critical hit. So if you're desperate for a critical hit, this is it. But I would probably say use Multi-Fist, because on one of those hits we'll get a critical hit. That's it for the Martial Arts Vocation skills. Let's go over the Priest Vocation skills. Now, next up on the list for the Priest Vocation skills in the order you master is Heal. Heal 25 hit points on a party member. Again, you have good magical mending. That goes up a little bit. Squelch cures poison on a single target. We're explaining that just basically cures poison. Whoosh, wind magic that hits 2 to 3 foes. So you're starting to get the wind magic elementals to do some nice damage if your foes are weak to wind magic. Buff boosts defense on a single target, so that means their defense will be up there. There'll be a defense icon +2. Multi-heal, heal 65 hit points on a party member. This scales up if you have magical mending really up there, so it's a good heal. It's better than a heal spell. Fizzle attempts to stop a group of foes from casting magic, so if you meet a bunch of annoying spellcasters, silence them with this spell. Crackle, hit a group of foes with ice magic, so if foes are weak to ice, go ahead and abuse the spell against them. Here's the Priest Vocation skills. Swoosh, wind attack that hits 2 to 4 foes, more powerful than Whoosh. So if you need more wind magic damage, this is the spell to use. Multi-heal heals all party members 75 hit points each. The more in magical mending, the more it heals. Now, I'm going to say this right now. This is a great healing spell. I had characters with very high magical mending, especially on my main character towards the end of my Dragon Quest VII Reimage run. And I was healing about 250 to 300 a pop. So it's a great healing spell. Benediction removes a curse from a party member. There are a few curse items out there. So this is very useful. Zing attempts to revive a fallen party member. This sometimes does not work. So it goes off of magical mending. So higher magical mending, more likely this spell will work. Let's get to the last set of Priest Vocation skills. Here's the next one. Whack. Attempts to instantly kill a single foe. Will not work against bosses and certain foes immune to this spell. So if you want to attempt to one-shot an enemy that's been bugging you, this is the spell. Just remember, don't use it against bosses or foes immune to death magic. Last but not least, Grace of the Goddess puts auto revive on a party member. If the party member dies, they are brought back to life and the buff goes away. This is exactly like auto life in the Final Fantasy series. This is the Dragon Quest version of it. So if you're having trouble with certain bosses throughout the game, well, put the spell on the character. That's it for the Priest Vocation skills. Let's go over the Sailor Vocation skills. The Sailor Vocation skills we're going to do in order again that you do get the stars in. First one, Mean Sweep, a water elemental infused melee attack that can put the dazzle status effect on a single foe. So if you want to sweep the leg, this is the way to go. They get dazzled, they miss more often than not. Tingle cures paralyzation or paralysis on all party members. So if you are paralyzed, go ahead and pop this baby. They're good to go back into combat. Body Slam, slam the user's body into a foe. The higher the hit points, the more damage it does. So if you have 999 hit points, which is the max in this game, you do quite a bit of damage with this. Again, good starter skill. Coral Grief, attack all foes with water damage, the same as before. And it also makes the material family most likely weak to lightning attacks. So it's nice to have until you get something better. Next on the list is Helm Splitters. This just looks like Kiefer's and the others. An attack on a single foe will drop their defense slightly. So if you're facing against a boss or something like that has good defense, well, pop this. That means you do more damage to the boss because that boss has a debuff. Stump, attack all foes, attempts to make them fall down, miss a turn. So if you want them to miss a turn, this is the way to go. Kamikaze, the caster sacrifice their life to do heavy damage to all foes. It will wipe out the weaker ones, but won't wipe out bosses or so. I'd probably say that means you should do better defense. I'd say more like offense instead of using that spell. I'm going to be honest. Lightning. All foes get hit with lightning damage. So this is one of the good lightning spells to use. So if you're in that elemental, that's the way to go. But there's better lightning spells out there. That's it for the Sailor Vocation skills. Next up is the Shepherd Vocation skills. We're now on the Shepherd Vocation skills. This is the Aura of Mastery. You will see them. Slumber Rumba, attack that attempts to put a single foe to sleep. So this is like the sleep spell, but single target version. So if you need to target one foe, this way they won't bug you. This is it to use. Heal, just like the other heal 25 hit points. Scales up with the, of course, Magical Mending. More Magical Mending. This will heal more than 25 hit points. So it's a good basic heal. Ram Ray, like a ram attack on one foe, the higher defense, the more damage it does. So basically, you ram a foe, you have very high defense, especially 999. You can do a lot of damage with that. Re-heal, regens 9 hit points per round on a single target until it wears off. Again, a little bit rescaling with, of course, Magical Mending. It'll do more than 9 hit points per round. So it's nice for regenerative spell. Woolly Blanket, buff that increased defense and against ice attacks. So if you face against ice boss, this is the buff to use. The next skill is Remid Heal. Regens 22 hit points per round on a party member until it wears off. More powerful than Re-Heal. Again, if you have good Magical Mending, this will regen more than 22 hit points on a party member. It's good to use to get a little bit more hit points. Defuddle cures all party members of the confusion status effect. So if your party's confused, pop this spell, you're good to go again. All focused. Nap, target goes to sleep, removes poison and dazzle status from target, and also recovers HP and MP as well. So if your party member's in a deep doo-doo, yeah, this is a spell to use. Next up on the list is Counting Sheep. Attempts to put a group of foes to sleep. The more is used in battle, the more success it happens. So if you keep on putting foes to sleep in the same battle, then of course you'll more likely put them to sleep. So this way you can take them all out much more quicker. More Heal regens 52 hit points per round on a single party member, more powerful than Remid Heal. Again, this is a great spell to regenerate. Of course, I say HP, not MP, but it's HP. And more in Magical Mending, this will regen more than 52 hit points. Lampede, a group of sheep hit foes, more used in battle, the more damage it does. So if you keep on spamming this like crazy in the same battle, the damage goes up, up, up. And that's it for the Shepherd Vocation skills. Next up is the Thief's Vocation skills. Here are the Thief Vocation skills in order to receive via the Mastery tree. Toxic Dagger. This attack attempts to poison all foes. So it's a good way to attempt to poison foes because there's a few skills in this vocation that ramps off of poisons. This way you do more damage. Kleptoclobber attacks one foe, attempts to steal from said foe. So this is basically like the Steel Sickles in Dragon Quest II HD 2D Remake. Instead, this one focuses on stealing from one foe while you damage him. So if you need somewhat of a rare item, this is it. And some people actually use this for seed farming. Crag, one foe gets an Earth Sigil. It damages foe per round until it wears off. Doing action will actually cause the damage. So if they defend, I don't think it does damage. But if they do an action or so, they will get hit. It's a nice way to knock some foes' hit points off quickly. Victimizer, an attack that does 6 times damage if a foe is poisoned or paralyzed. So if you use Toxic Dagger, you do 6 times the damage. It's like the one they use in Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, except for it's on a poison or a paralyzed target. Next up is Crag. One foe gets hit with Earth Sigil. It damages foes per round until it wears off. Doing action will cause damage. This is more powerful than Crag. So instead of using Crag, go ahead and use Crag. And what happens is you do a lot more damage. Cumbling Knife. An attack that can paralyze a group of foes. If they're paralyzed, then you can do Victimize them on, which is 6 times the damage. So this is like a setup ability. Next one is Purse Cutter, an attack that does 6 times damage on sleeping or confused foes. So if someone decides to either confuse the enemy or put them to sleep, guess what? 6 times the damage. This is like the one in Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, does a lot of damage. I think they scaled it down a little bit due to the fact it was too powerful in Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, but it's a good skill for a rogue to use. Craggle, a group of foes get hit with the Earth Sigil. It damages foes per round until it wears off. Doing action will cause them damage. This is more powerful than Crag since the damage goes up, and it's a group of them now. So even when facing against a group of foes or a group of bosses all at once, go ahead and use that. Assassin Dagger. Attack one foe, attempts to kill that foe on the spot. It will not work against bosses or foes immune to instant death attacks. If you really need to take a foe out, or in some cases some of the Metal Slime type of foes, this is the way to go. Next up, we'll go over the Troubadour, which is the Bard skills. Here are the Troubadour, aka Bard skill vocation in the order you master. Accelerate raise agility on one party member, so if a party member needs agility, go ahead and pop it on him or her. Soothing Song, a song that can heal all party members 20 HP, and this will scale up to if you have higher magical mending, so higher magical mending, you heal more than 20 HP per round. Good and cheap spell to use early on to heal, just trust me. Heim of Air forms a barrier around the party against wind attacks, so if you're facing a wind boss, shield up with this Heim. Starburst Throw, rain down stars on all foes. This will also drop their resistance to spells. So if you need to have a spell, resistant drop to their spells, go ahead and do so. Then Maribel could do her magic. Heim of Light forms a barrier around the party against light attacks. It doesn't sound good now, but later on there's a few bosses that will actually use light attacks. So yeah, this is good to use. Next up for this vocation is Area of Awakening. Slightly increase the power of all party members' offensive spells. So this is a great buff for someone like Maribel. So cast this, Maribel does more offensive magic damage. Heim of Fire forms a barrier around the party against fire attacks. So if you face a fire boss, well, use the Heim of Fire to shield up. Heim of Ice forms a barrier around the party against ice attacks. So if you face against ice bosses, shield up with the Heim of Ice. Here are the last set of skills for his vocation. Divine Intervention. Drop spell resistance of one foe. It's a very powerful one because it drops down to a -2 spell resistance. Use that against a foe, and then Maribel could have a good time against them. Yeah, because she's my spellcaster. Accelerate. Slightly increase agility for all party members. It's not better than the other one, but everybody gets a little bit of agility up. They get the 1 instead of 2 agility, which is nice. Angel Song, a song that revives fallen party members and they get some MP restored. This does not work at times though, that's the downside, but if you have high magical mending, it'll work more often than not. You don't have any other way to revive, use the Angel Song and there you go. If they're revived, you're good to go for that party member. And let's get to the Warrior Vocation skills. This is last of the basic vocation skills and is the warrior vocation. So let's go over it. Focus strength. Next melee attack will do double damage. This wears off if you do not attack in that round while the buff's on the character. I used this so many times early on. Let me tell you. Kiefer did a lot of damage with this thing and some of my other characters did as well. Block and speed, attack on a single foe that can keep the user safe from harm. So basically it increases their block rate, just like the other ones. Attack attacker, attack that drops a single foe's attempt to drop their attack power, so it does attack, but at the same time try to debuff their attack by -1. Good to use against certain bosses that has high attack power. Metal Slash, a single attack that can do extra damage against metal foes, great against metal type of foes, including the metal slime type of enemies. Now, next up is Multi-Slash, attack that slashes foes randomly 4 times, great against single targets. So you use this against single target, especially a single boss. This is a way to do some nice damage. Undead Undo, a single attack that can do extra damage against undead foes. So if you're facing an undead boss, good to use against that. Dragon Slash, a single attack that can do extra damage against dragon foe. So you're facing a dragon, good to use. Cut Above, a single attack that can hit 6 times. So this is some good damage to use. Cut Above. And then, of course, you'll be a damage dealer via melee style with this. And that's it for the warrior vocation skills. Now we'll get into the intermediate vocation, which is the Armamentalist we're to do first. We're now into the intermediate vocations. We're going to start with the Armamentalist. So let's go over that vocation skills. Flame Slash. Attack a single foe with melee attack that is infused with fire elemental damage. So any foe that's weak to, I say, fire elemental damage, and if your character has good strength, well, you can do some nice damage against those type of foes. Gush Slash. Attack a single foe with melee attack that is infused with wind elemental damage. So if a foe is weak to wind damage, and again, your strength is good, well, guess what? This will be a good slash to abuse. Kassiz, a spell that attacks a group of foes with fire damage. So it's a very nice group fire attack. They burn, you get happy. Oomph, raise attack power of a single party member. This is a very powerful buff, so a good idea to buff up your party members with this. Miracle Slash, a single attack that also heals the user. The more damage you do, the more you heal. Simple as that. Now let's go ahead and go to the next one. The next one on the Armamentalist list is the Magic Barrier. Barrier is built around the party to reduce damage from spells. So if you see, like for example, this foe constantly casts spells, especially certain bosses, pop this barrier up, you reduce spell damage. Double Jeopardy summons a force that does twice as much damage and reduce all resistance on the target. So this is like a 2-for-1. You do damage, you reduce their resistance, good times. Crack, a spell that attacks all foes with ice damage. It rains ice on foes. Any foes weak to ice magic, abuse this. Bounce, the party gets the ability to reflect any spell. Buff goes, so does the spell reflection. When it says any spells, that means if you try to heal yourself, that gets bounced to the enemy. It's a great spell. It's also very dangerous as well. So if you do this route, you better use abilities like, for example, Hustle Dance to heal. Now let's get to the last set of our Mentalist, of course, skills. Flame Splitter, and attack that damage all foes with fire. So this is another that's a good fire spell. So if any foes are weak to fire, go ahead and abuse this. Kassizzle, a spell that attacks a group of foes with fire better than Kassiz. I would probably say you definitely use the 2 I just mentioned. So this way you could do some nice fire attack. Crush Ice. Ice attack one foe 4 times with ice damage. So if you're facing, for example, a boss that's weak to ice, go ahead and use Crush Ice. That's it for the Armamentalist vocation. So let's go ahead and go to the Gladiator vocation next. Now we're on the Gladiator vocation. So let's go over that vocation and all their skills. Blind Man's Bluff, an attack that hits random foes. So if you want to really cause some chaos, this is a pretty decent way to do it. Mercurial Slash, this does an attack to a single foe. The user gets an agility boost out of it. 2-for-1 special. You damage a foe, you get agility. That means you're more likely to have the next turn over the foe you just attacked. Cutting Edge, just like the other one, a single attack that does good melee damage. Again, if you want to go melee this route, this is good. Falcon Slash, an attack that does twice the damage to a single target. Now, the damage is slightly reduced, but you attack 2 times, which is a good thing, especially if you're going against a boss like that. Now, let's get the last set of Gladiator skills. Next on the list is Double Edge Slash, an attack that hits a foe that does great damage at a cost of your HP. If you do a critical hit, then it can kill you. How I know? I tried this on a boss early on in Dragon Quest II HD 2D Remake. I got a critical hit, I got over 1,000 damage. So it's a very good risky move. You do a lot of damage, for example, to a boss. Sometimes it could kill you, but if you want to go for risk over reward, then go ahead and do so. Boulder Toss. Launch a giant rock that hits all foes. If you need a decent, non-elemental, I say AoE attack or so, this is the way to go. Punch in a Pinch. Does a desperate move on a foe. The lower hit points, the more damage it does. So this is actually good because the more you're hurt, the more, of course, your damage you get to do. Unbridled Blade. This is an upgrade to Cutting Edge, by the way. A single attack that does great damage. If you need a move that is raw damage and, of course, physical damage, this is the ability to abuse. That's it for the Gladiator Vocation. Next up is the Luminary Vocation. Next up on the list is Grand Slam. Make it easier to let loose and boosts the charm stat. So what it does is use this on yourself or someone else. And then, of course, if you go ahead and use it, for example, on Rolf, he's more likely to let loose. Also, nice charm stat boost is good. Harvest Moon, a kick that hits one foe and boosts the user's charm stat. So the user attacks a foe, and what happens is their charm stat gets up. It's great for charm builds. Pass the torch. Give one party member your turn. This cannot be done in succession. So here's the deal. For instance, you want to give Maribel your turn, so this way she could nuke your enemies. That's fine. And next time if you want to try again, can't do it to Maribel, but you could do it to any other two party members. Snap, Crackle, Poof protects a party member from status effects. So, for example, if your main character is getting hit with status effects, then go ahead and cast it on that main character, and then they'll be absolutely protected from status effects until the buff goes. Oomph, just like the other ones, boosts the attack power of a party member. This is a really good one. Like I said before, boosts one person up. I usually do it to Rolf. He does more damage. Let's go ahead and get to the last set of the Luminary Vocation skills. Now, next up on the list is Hustle Dance. Restore all party members 70 HP. This scales up with Magical Mending. Yes, it does. This is an alternative to multi-heal. In case you can't cast spells, Hustle Dance to heal yourself. And let me tell you, it is really good. And I use this a lot. Just trust me, I use it so much that it's my main go-to for healing. Now, next one is Have a Ball. Rain balls on one foe that can confuse them. So if you need a certain foe to be confused, this is it. Gold Rush. Throw 1,000 gold coins at a foe, dealing damage. You're throwing money away, just like you do in the Final Fantasy games with the Samurai class. However, you do deal some nice damage, so that's the exchange. Lose gold, but you get damage on your foes. Miracle Moon, an attack that attacks randomly 5 times. It heals the user as well. I'm going to go ahead and say it not only is great when a critical hits, you get healed more, but if you target it like a boss, this is even better. That's it for the Luminary Vocation skills. Next up is the Monster Master Vocation skills. We're now on the Monster Master Vocation for skills. Remember, I'm doing this in order of stars you gain. First of all is Summon Slime. Summon a slime family monster who can fight for you. Now, this is one of the monsters that can actually sometimes fight against you. And those against you are usually the male monsters, like, for example, male slimes or so. And then when that happens, that's free EXP, by the way. Next one is Ammo Magnetism, a single attack on a foe that can confuse a foe. So if you're looking for a foe or a certain one to confuse, this is it. Zam, a spell that hits a single foe with darkness damage. Now, darkness damage, there's not much foes weak to it. I found it's a little bit of a downside, but if you find out foes weak to darkness, you see a thumbs up, go ahead and use it. Dazzle, wrap a group of foes with illusions. This means your foes will miss with melee attacks more often. It's like the other ones before. You want to go ahead and attack a group of melee foes, then if they get hit with it, they miss more often than not, which is a good thing. Summon Zombies. Summon an undead to fight for you, and yes, it will actually fight for you. Just like a necromancer summoning a zombie to fight for them in the Dungeons & Dragons games. Next up is Zamla, a spell that hits a single foe with darkness damage, better than the Zam spell. So if you see a foe weakness to darkness with thumbs up, go ahead and use it. So Chaos confuses a group of foes while boosting their attack powers. Yeah, it's an upside and downside. Group of foes get confused, however, their attack powers go up. Hopefully they attack each other, which is a good thing. If not, you just gave them an advantage. I'd probably say avoid using it. Summon Beast. Summons a beast to fight for the party. Again, it will not attack you. It's alright, but there's better summons out there. Kazam, a spell that hits a single foe with darkness damage, better than Zamel. Again, if you see a thumbs up for darkness weak foes, go ahead and use it. Summon Dragon, the granddaddy of all summons. Summons a dragon to fight for you. Now, this is great when you let loose, because what happens is if you let loose and you summon Dragon, you get one nasty big old dragon to actually fight for you and do a lot of damage. I mean a lot of damage. It's great for up to, I say, almost late game in the story. After that, you can use something else. That's it for the Monster Master Vocation skills. Next up are the Paladin Vocation skills. We are now on the Paladin Vocation skills, so let's go ahead and do it in the order that you do receive them. Buff slightly increases all party members' defense, so everyone in the party gets a slight defense buff, which is one defense up, which is good. Wind Sickles, attack one foe with wind damage, so if you need to go ahead and attack a foe weak to wind magic or wind elemental, this is the skill to use. Mid Heal, heal 65 HP on a single party member. Now remember, this will scale up if you have some good to great magical mending, so you heal more than 65 HP on a party member, which is always good curing people. Squelch cures poison status on a single party member. Again, it's like the others, someone gets poisoned, cure it with them. Forbearance, the caster steps in front of a party member and takes the damage in their place. In other words, they take one for the team. If the caster needs to become a tank of the party, like for example, I see so many times people do a Sir Mervyn build using him as a tank. This is it. Immense of defense goes into a stoic stance that blocks tons of damage. So if you're facing a foe that likes to melee a lot and you have good luck with blocking damage, well, pop this sucker. You block, they cry. Simple as that. Next up is Miracle Shield. Restores HP when blocking an attack with this buff. So when this buff's on, you do a block, you get your HP restored. So if you need another way to heal, this is it. Thin Air. Damage all foes in a vortex with wind damage. So it's another wind attack, but this time hits all foes. So if anybody's weak to wind, this is it. Multi-Heal. One of my favorite spells that heals in the entire game. Heals all party members 75 HP each. The more magical mending, the more it heals. Like I said before, I had 250 to 300 per party member because I had high magical mending at the point with my main character. So this is a very nice healing spell. The other one is Hustle Dance in case you cannot cast it. So those two are good to use. Zing. Attempts to revive a fallen party member. Works sometimes and other times it does not. So if you have high magical mending, it'll work more often than not. Again, this is a good revive spell. So if you attempt to revive it, works. That's good. If not, you're starting to get in some serious trouble. Defending Champion. The user reduces all damage by 95% for 1 round. Great for blocking a heavy damage attack. Now, there are certain abilities will actually bypass that, but most of them will not. If you know a certain boss decide to go ahead and rev up with a devastating attack, pop Defending Champion, you take a lot less damage because of that. Trust me, I used that against the Nalm in Dragon Quest I HD2D Remake. This works exactly the same way in this game. Kerplunk. The caster sacrifices their life to revive all dead party members and fully heals them. This is the ultimate healing sacrifice spell. And what's great about it is that any party members that bit the dust, well, you change places. The caster dies. The ones that are down gets fully healed. All good. Pearly Gates. Deal divine damage to all foes. I believe it's light damage. So if you're facing against foes who are darkness foes and you see that big old thumbs up, go ahead and blast them with the Pearly Gates. That's it for the Paladin Vocation skills. Next up is the Pirate Vocation skills. For the Pirate Vocation skills, we'll go ahead and go over many of them. Many of them are AoE attacks and such. Well, most of them are in one form or another. So first one that you do receive is Power Throw, an attack that damages all foes. This is a good start to it with this vocation, attack all foes. Next up is Hatchet Man, does normal damage on a single foe or a critical hit on them. So it's either normal damage or critical hit. the game decides for you. Next up is Twister Fist, an attack that hits a group of foes. So this is not a bad one at all to use and abuse. Scrap Metal, an attack that hits a foe with a good chance to lower their defense. So if their defense gets lowered, that's a good thing. So use Scrap Metal to give you advantage. Maelstrom, Magic Vortex, probably most likely wind magic that damages all foes. So if you need a foe that is weak to I should say definitely wind, or all foes are, go ahead and abuse this. Axis of Evil, a brutal attack that hits a group of foes. Another good group damaging type of ability. Blast It All, a powerful bomb that hits all foes, which is very good. So use it, you do a lot of damage, and if many of them dies, that's good. Parallax, a brutal attack that can paralyze one foe. So if you're looking to paralyze one foe, that's great. Now you couple it with a thief that use their, I should say, some other ability. Like for example, I think it's Purse Cutter, or it's the other one. I think it was Victimizer. Yeah, use Victimizer with Parallax. Well, guess what? They get paralyzed. The thief does extra damage, which is 6 times. That is it for the Pirate Vocation skills. Next up is the Sage Vocation skills. Now we're on the Sage Vocation skills. They are crossbreed between a mage and a priest. So you get to see some of those, and some of those type of spells buffed up. Squelch cures poison on a single party member, just like the other Squelch spells. Someone's poisoned, you get to cure them with this. Insulate, protect the party from breath damage. This will reduce breath damage greatly, so pop this sucker, you're good to go. Mid heal, heal 65 HP on a party member. Now this scales up with, of course, magical mending. More than that, it will definitely heal more than 65 HP on a party member, which is good. Kawoosh, a spell that uses wind damage to slice 2 to 5 foes. So if any foes, or I say group of foes, weak to, of course, wind damage, go ahead and pop this sucker. More heal, this is an upgrade to mid heal. Heals 164 HP on a single party member. Again, if this scales, if you have high, I should say magical mending, you'll heal way over 164 hit points, which is a good thing. So it's very nice. It's very economical too. Got buff, slightly increases all party members' defense. You get a +1 defense on every character, which is a good thing. Cussing, revives a party member from death. Now, different than the other reviving spell, this is a 100% success rate. It will always succeed. Like for example, Mirabelle's down for the count. Then of course I should say Aish decided to use this. She revives Mirabelle. Mirabelle goes back to blasting foes with her magic. For the next Sage spell you should receive is the Twack spell. Death spell attempts to wipe out all foes. Does not work against bosses or certain foes immune to this. So if you really want to attempt to knock out all enemies, go ahead and use this. If somehow you get charmed and you have a diamond on you and you get hit with it, well, the diamond breaks, but still is a great spell to attempt to use. Kaboom! Does massive explosive damage to all foes. This is like one of the great explosive spells. Good to clear out some yard trash. Full heal. Heals a party member to full health. Yep, that's right. Full HP. It could be 1 HP or 999, which is great. Caster Sugar. Slightly increased effectiveness of caster spells. So if you want a certain spell to land some debuffs on foes, this is it here to use and abuse. Next up on the list is Kaswooshal, a spell that uses wind damage to slice 3 to 6 foes. Better than a Kaswoosh spell. Now, if foes are weak to, of course, this spell, go ahead and abuse it. Last but not least is the Magic Burst spell. Uses all MP to do magical non-elemental damage. The more MP you currently have, the more damage you do. So if you have a full MP, like for example, you max your character out in MP like 999, that means you really do a lot of damage. I think it's capped at 5k, I'm not certain, but it's a great spell to use and abuse for the Sage Vocation. That's it for the Sage Vocation. Now we're advanced into the Advanced Vocations. We're going to start with the Champion Vocation skills. We are now on the final set of vocations, the Advanced Vocation and all their skills. We're going over the Champion Vocation skills. Now, I'm doing this in the order that you do receive them via leveling up the vocations. Hand of God, a powerful light-infused attack on a single foe that can have a high chance to get a critical hit. If you need to do some serious raw damage on a target, this is it. Breeze blocker reflects all breath attacks towards your party back to the enemy. So if a certain enemy or so decide to do a breath attack, you will throw it back at them. I'm going to say this right now. I not only use this towards the end, but I really use this towards post game. And let me tell you, it made it a lot more easier. Blight Splitter, a powerful light infused attack that hits all foes at once. This is a great move. You want to clear the area of foes that are weak to light magic or light abilities. This is it. Multi-Fist attacks randomly 7 times on a group of foes. Excellent against one target and one type of bosses, like for example single target bosses. This is really broken. I went through the arena, used that, broke it. All 3 of them, in fact. I went through the post-game arena, broke those 2 bosses, broke them big time. So OP, it's broken. Use it and abuse it. Next on the list is Counterweight. This buff will dodge attacks, then counterattack against a group of foes. Not only you dodge attack when it works, you also hit a group of foes as well too, which is not bad. Fatal Flash, a powerful attack on a single foe that can lock in a critical hit. So if you're looking for a raw damage, well, this is the way to go. Big Banga, powerful hit that deals explosive damage to all foes and can immobilize them for a turn or 2. So if you're looking for a way to immobilize all your foes, if you can, this is it. Blade of Ultimate Power, an attack so powerful it can deal tons of damage on a single foe. And if you really need some raw damage to hit on a foe, this is it. Otherwise, I probably say Multi-Fist is the way to go. That's it for the Champion Vocation Skills. Next up is the Druid Vocation Skills. We're now on the Druid Vocation Skills. Again, you get these, or you do receive them via leveling up the vocation. Pyrite O Fire. Powerful fire magic that damages one foe. So if you're looking for a way to attack a foe that's seriously weak to fire, this is it. Magma Blast. Powerful fire attack that hits all foes. So if you're looking for a nice fire damage that does a lot of damage, of course, to foes weak to fire, this is it. Lightning Storm. Summons a lightning storm that is powerful and hits a group of foes. So again, if you're looking for magic that has foes that are also weak to lightning, this is it to destroy them. Cut Frizzle, a deadly fire pillar that damages one foe. This is good as it get to me for fire magic against a single foe. If they're weak to fire, use it. Sage's Breath, a buff that regens the target's MP until it goes away. This is not bad at all. However, if you know how to use the Druid class and another vocation to team up with it, you're not going to need much MP because you're just wiping out the foes like crazy. Next up on the list is Crackle, powerful ice magic that hits all foes. So if any foe's weak to ice magic, wipe them all out with it. Omni Heal restores 100% of all party hit points. This is a old crap button. I need a heal. Well, use it and definitely abuse this sucker because you get everybody back to full health and then you can turn the tides your way. Kabommel, powerful explosive magic that hits all foes. So any foes weak to explosive magic, even for all of them, use it. Frizz Cracker. This magic is so powerful that it can do some ultimate damage against a group of foes. Now, it does is it seeks out whatever elemental damage it's weak to and focuses on that. After it's cast, then the caster gets a -2 in magical might debuff. Now, you can actually go ahead and counter that with Channel Anger because when you do Channel Anger, what happens is of course you get the +2 magical might, and then when you cast this, afterwards you get the -2. I'm going to go ahead and say this magic coupled with a certain spell, which I just said was Channel Anger, will wipe out most bosses' HP or instantly one-shot them. This is as good as it gets for magical damage. In fact, I advise people doing it. Channel Anger 1 round, next round Fizz Cracker, and then whoever casts that will dominate. I have a certain character that does that a lot. In fact, this character did it for most of the game when I did get the Druid class. Now let's go ahead and go over the final advanced vocation, the hero vocation, and its skills. Here's the last vocation we're going to go ahead and go over, which is a hero vocation, all their skills. So this is the order that you receive when you're leveling up their vocation, the hero vocation. Kaklang turns a single party member into steel. They cannot act, however, they cannot receive any damage. This is a good oh crap button. I cannot get damage at all. I might as well go ahead and turn to steel. Miss a few turns of attacking and doing actions. However, I survive. KOBO slightly increase all party members' defense. Again, it's just like the other ones. You get +1 defense for everybody, which is good. Zap, attack a group of foes with lightning damage. So any group of foes weak to lightning damage, go ahead and use it. Poof, just like the other ones. Attempt to make all foes disappear. Again, when this happens, you get no EXP, no gold, no nothing. They just go away. Metal foes, certain ones are immune to it. Giga Slash, attack all foes with lightning damage. So this is a very powerful ability. You attack all foes with lightning damage, you do a whole lot of damage. Multi-heal heals all party members 75 HP each. The more magical mending, the more it heals. Like I said before, with multi-heal, with my main character, yeah, the hero of the story, I had him with good magical mending. He was healing 250 to 300 per pop, which is good. Now, next up is Sword Dance. Randomly cuts a group of foes with 4 hits. Great against single foes since it's 4 hits on one foe. Again, if it's a single boss, great against them as well too. And it's not like multi-fist, but it's a good substitute for it. Kazing revives a party member from death. This is a 100% success rate. So if a certain party member, like for example, Aisha's down, you go ahead and do Kazing her and she's back to life. No problem at all. No failure rate. Kazap. Attack a group of foes with lightning magical damage. Better than the zap spell. This is the best to me lightning magical spell in the entire game. So it attacks a group of foes. If they're weak to it, they take a lot of damage. Disruptive Wave. Remove all buffs from one foe. This is absolutely good in case some certain foe decides to put some nasty buffs on him or herself, especially certain bosses. Get rid of it and then let the good times roll. Giga Gash. Attack all foes with lightning damage. This is like a melee version just infused with lightning damage. Better than Giga Gash, but it's the best for the hero class attack ability that attacks all foes. You can do a lot of damage with that. It also scales up with strength. More strength, the more damage it does as well. That is it for all the skills in the entire game. Next up, we're going to go ahead and go over are the dungeons in the game. In Dragon Quest VII Reimage, there are times you have to go into a dungeon. It could be a castle, cave, I say shrine, you name it. Foes, when you enter a dungeon, are usually tougher, so you have to be careful on how to navigate through it. Now, great news is usually at the start of a dungeon, there is a save shrine which you fully heal yourself. From time to time, there's also another save shrine. And then towards the end, if you know it's a boss fight or a big event, even another save shrine. Now, there's also loot there too, so do not leave the dungeon until you collect 100% of the loot, so this way you can use it when you do get. You might get a few upgrades. If you don't get the loot, you might miss out on an upgrade as well too. If a dungeon's too tough, go ahead and go outside the dungeon and grind. That's about it for dungeons. Let's go ahead and go over puzzles. From time to time, you will have to solve a puzzle. Now, in order to go ahead and reset the puzzle, you have to hit certain buttons that says start over. There's some solutions that's obvious, other times that's a bit tougher. You have to solve these puzzles in order to go ahead and advance in this story. Just take your time to go over the area and then figure out what to do next. And that's how you solve puzzles. Just take your time, like I said, once again, do it right, and that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and go over modes of travel. Besides your own 2 feet and the zoom spell, when you zoom to previous location you did visit, you could travel other ways. You could travel on boat, and there's even 2 modes of transportation you could definitely do. Take advantage of the boats. This way you could grind EXP early on until you defeat the foes in the sea. As for the other 2 modes of transportation, no enemies will attack you at all. So take full advantage of traveling around in the game. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about is the whistle and notes for treasure commands. In Dragon Quest VII Reimage, the notes for treasure and whistle commands are not locked in any vocations. Instead, when you get a certain character, he will bring that to the table. Notes for treasure will detect all the treasure on the floor and also how much is left for the dungeon, which is great. So this way, you know what you're missing and what to get. And sometimes if you're missing something you can't get now, you can always come back later. As for whistle, it's great to go ahead and get in random battles to defeat some foes with ease. Also, if there's any foes you cannot get normally by attacking these foes, I should say on the overhead view. Then you go ahead and whistle, and what happens is a foe comes up, and if it's one of those you cannot fight like I am fighting these foes, then go ahead and use it. Take full advantage of these two because they can be really helpful in the game. Now I'm going to go over the optional island passes and why you should do them. As before I said, the island passes, some of them are optional, like this one. This one gives you extra story, aka side quests, and so on and so forth. You get some extra loot, extra fragment pieces, extra monsters to defeat, you name it. You get extra stuff to do and complete. And they're usually, when you enter the Shrine of Mysteries, they're on the very top. When you solve those puzzles, enter those worlds and take full advantage of them. You're saying, why is that, Fenton? Well, if you don't take full advantage of them, eventually you'll be left behind. So definitely do these optional worlds. They have some very good, fun stories in them. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and talk about in this guide is combat tactics. I'm going to go ahead and go over combat tactics. So when you play Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, you get into combat. Great idea to always have some tactics with you. So this way you can fight some foes, then defeat them with ease, and so on and so forth. At times you need to adjust your tactics. Other times keep with the flow. So what we'll go ahead and do at this time is show you my 2-round demonstration of the tactics. You can write this down if you want to. Here's my combat tactics sample 1. Round 1, hero does AoE attack or a single attack. I have Mayoress use Channel Anger, so this way her next spell will do quite a bit of damage. Roof does Focus Pocus, this way he attacks twice. Aish does which boosts his attack power on Roof. Now here's a same example, round 2 this time. The hero attack or heals depending on the situation. Mayoress uses Frizz Cracker, that will either soften the foes up or finish them off. Roof does Multi-Fist, again soften the foes or finish them off. Aish does Muscle Dance on Roof. If she can get before Roof, then Roof could do some serious damage. Beyond round 3, repeat until boss is dead with of course round 1 and 2 tactics. So that's an example there. So like I said before, adjust accordingly. If you feel it works, go for it. Now we're going to talk about vicious monsters next. Next up are the vicious monsters. They're souped up normal monsters that you see in the battlefield. They'll be tougher, they hit harder. My advice is if you're having issues with them, come back in a few levels or a little bit later in the story. You will definitely want to fight them for a few reasons. Number one, to give you more EXP and vocation points. Yeah, you level up your vocations by getting X amount of points. And another thing is, as well as you get them defeated on your defeated monster list, and of course hearts. Hearts are from certain monsters like this that will boost up certain things. Like for example, this one will probably give you more likely to do a critical hit, so on and so forth. Take full advantage of fighting vicious monsters. Use your combat tactics. Adjust if you really need to. So next up, I'm going to go over some vocation combos. I'm going to go over some vocation combos as a sample. So when you do the moonlighting part of the game where you have 2 vocations at once, take full advantage of it, like I said before, especially when you grind for vocation points as well too. So this way you level 2 vocations at once sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my example what vocation combos I use for a large chunk of the game. Here's my Vocation Moonlighting combos examples. So here we go. I have the main character, aka the hero of the story, hero vocation, champion vocation. Mayoress, I made her a Druid and Mage vocation. Rolf, a champion and martial artist vocation. Aish, Destiny's Dancer and Luminary. Sir Mervyn, a Paladin and Armamentalist. So as always, experiment with vocation combos. You might like mine. You might find something that you felt like that is better. So next up we'll go over is the Lucky Panel minigame. When you do get to a certain point in the story, you will discover a minigame called Lucky Panel where you have to match the squares in X amount of turns. So here's the deal on that. If you get the little mini devil, he shuffles around your board, you screw. A star means you get an extra turn. Now a metal slime, that means it'll bump up your value of course, items on lists, and usually items are 1 to 4 stars or so. Now you want to try to do is keep on clearing the board, so this way you move on. Now if you want to stop playing after a first set, then go ahead and do so and exit. You claim all the prizes, which is good. Now if you fail any prizes that you did match, you will claim. Try to do is get to the end of the I say lucky panel mini game, so this way there's chests. There's only exclusive items that you can get by winning via lucky panel. Also there's another way to make gold, and it does involve that as well. We'll go over that section when the time is right. Now how do I beat lucky panel and cheese it? Well, there's two ways. With the modern system and PCs, especially like for example Shall Play, and of course capture cards, or even certain things like the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series S or X, or even the Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, which you get to record your playthrough, or you can take pictures of them. So you either use the consoles to record, take pictures, or better yet, you have a phone. Use that as well. It sounds a little bit of cheesing the mini game, but it's better than wasting time and money. And yes, when you go to an area that has a lucky panel, the inn is very expensive. If you really know what you're doing, then you can really cover the cost of that. That's about it for a lucky panel. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and go over is area 1 is the arena. At a certain point in the story, you will be able to go into an arena. Now, some arenas like this, it's a one-on-one battle, for example. And there are 3 cups. Other times there are special arena matches. Many of them are in post-game where you have to have your team. Also, if you did get the DLC, you get to go into those special arena matches as well. Take full advantage of the arena because you can get some nice prizes, and always try to strive for all the turns. So, for example, this one or so, you have to win in less than 20 turns or so. And if you could pull that off, then you get all the prizes that associate with, of course, this cup. And that's about it for the arena. The next thing I'm going to go over for this Don't Panic guide is the gold farming. So, what is the best way to farm gold in Dragon Quest VII Reimage? Lucky panel. You're saying, why is that for a mini game instead of going out there killing foes that drops more gold? Very simple. Number 1, obviously you'll be safe. Number 2, if you could get to 3 or even the 4-star stuff, or bury out even the chests as you get some really extra items, what happens is you be able to go ahead and sell it after your 3 gameplays of lucky panels all done and over with. Once that's finished, then you could go to the merchant in town that has lucky panel and sell all the excessive items. This will stack up big time. I made some serious gold just by playing lucky panel. I had so much, I was like over 1 million gold in the game very early on, which was very helpful. So keep on playing lucky panel. You'll make some serious bank, and you don't have to worry about farming gold ever again out in the world. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and talk about is the over leveling and why you should do it. Before I do talk about, of course, you guessed it, EXP farming, we're going to talk about over leveling. So if you become so much strong that enemies will run away from you, what happens is you'll be able to go into combat and win without even going into combat, of course. So the deal is this simply. If you feel like you're over level, good idea to clear out the area. So this way it'd be easier for you to go through dungeons, go through, the land, so on and so forth. The downside is you get less EXP, vocation points, and gold versus just touching an enemy or whistling for them in combat. And it's always alright to over level instead of under level. So this way, if there's a tough dungeon and tougher foes and you're over level for it, then you can easily go ahead and beat those with ease without any worry. Now let's go over EXP farming. At some certain point in the game, you're going to find certain foes like this to farm some serious EXP points from. Should you take advantage of it? Absolutely. Go ahead and farm them, so this way you keep on farming them, you level up faster, and you become powerful much more quicker. Even get your vocations level much more faster as well too. So definitely look for a spot when you start out, then later on look for certain monsters like this to go ahead and EXP farm so you can blow through the levels and get to the cap really quickly, which is level 99. I am going to go ahead and go over stat seed farming and why you should do it. Reason why you should do some stat seed farming is you'll get an unfair edge against your foe, especially certain bosses in the game. That does include post game as well too. As always, look at your defeated monster list and look for any that drop seeds. Some of them, you just go ahead and attack them like I do, like this one there, and you get yourself a nice seed of resilience. Once you find a place to farm some seeds, spend an hour or two to do so, and give it to every one of your characters. So this way they'd be really overpowered and definitely wreck the game big time. That's about it for stat seed farming, and we'll go over post-game content. Once you have beaten the story, then what happens is you get a star by your save file. That means you're into post-game. My advice on this is very simple. Definitely go ahead and take advantage of post-game. That is the post-game arena fights, anything else that changed in the world, and also the post-game dungeons. The world is open to you. Take full advantage of that once you beat the story. I'm going to go over some final advice before I do end this video guide. I'm going to go ahead and give some final advice before I end this video guide. Number one, this is very important. You want to make sure you explore everywhere. Definitely take advantage of using your controller or M&K to move the camera around. You might not see something now, but if you move the camera around, you might see something then. Go ahead and pick up all the sparklies, even the ones that repeat. You might get something that is good or so. Yeah, definitely do combat, adjust your tactics if you need be. Make sure you always follow orders seriously. It'll help you out big time. Now, as for vocations, yeah, get them all mastered. So this way you have so many options. Take full advantage of the Moonlight system. So this way your character will be much more powerful. As always, go to shops in new areas, check it out. Save often, save early. Do other extra activities like, for example, vicious monsters, lucky panel, arena, you name it. Do some serious farming as well too. It's always better to go over level instead of under level for an encounter. Stat seed farming helps out greatly. Use lucky panel for gold farming because yeah, it'll be a safer way to do so. And have fun exploring the dungeon and the world. Definitely use zoom if you need to. Take advantage of course, I'd say notes for treasure and the whistle ability. One last thing, have fun with the game and make fun of the characters that look like this. I mean, it's a riot. Well, everyone, this is it from Don't Panic Dragon Quest VII Reimage new player guide video. This is Lord Fat signing off. Thanks for watching. Have a great day or night, and do please stay safe. Please subscribe to my channel for more Dragon Quest series videos just like this. If you like what you see, then pick my suggestion on the upper left hand corner or YouTube suggestion on the bottom left hand corner. I'm going to go ahead and let this little thug pet this little cute kitty.